I'm Plami, and in this episode of Plami's Thoughts On, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on episode 13 of the 6th season of one of my favorite shows ever, Fear the Walking Dead. The episode is titled JD, and you can say that it's about quite a few things. But before we get into it, first of all, I just want to mention for all of you Walking Dead fans that I just started a playthrough, or should I say a replay, of Telltale's The Walking Dead. I'm gonna be playing through all 4 seasons again, so if you're interested, definitely make sure to check those videos out, because even though they are replays, I still try to have genuine, interesting reactions and share my thoughts on the game and my issues, positives and all those stuff. So I think there's plenty of new stuff that I'm talking about that you will be able to enjoy those videos. And if you want a genuine blind first reaction, you can check out my old playthrough of the 4th season, which is literally the first 4 episodes that I ever uploaded, first 4 videos that I ever uploaded on my YouTube channel. So they're not the best quality, but there's that if you want genuine first reactions. So yeah, I gotta say, I have a certain problem when watching TV shows. Whatever it is, for some reason, unless I'm super into what I'm watching and I'm super blown away and immersed in what I'm watching, I kind of lose interest in keeping up with it. And what I mean by that is that with Fear the Walking Dead, like with this episode, because I'm talking about this episode, it was a good episode. It had a lot of good about it. There's honestly almost nothing that I would say was bad about it. But still, it felt more of a slow burn, and it wasn't mind-blowingly good because we already predicted the plot of this episode, what it was going to be a few weeks ago, I would say. So it wasn't super exciting. And now I don't really feel that interested into checking out the next episode. So I don't understand why I have this problem, but whenever I watch a TV show, unless it blows my mind with every episode, for some reason I just cannot find myself keeping up with it. Because, like, for example, if you've watched my other Plami's Thoughts On videos, I did few reviews for the most recent season of Power Rangers, and I stopped because I haven't kept up with watching it because it hasn't been exciting enough, I guess. I don't know, I just struggle to keep up with shows for some reason. Same for Invincible. I watched the first 3 episodes, didn't keep up with it past that. And the same happens to Fear the Walking Dead as well. Even though this season has been really, really good, there has been a couple of moments where I've been like, do I really want to watch it now? And I don't know. And I feel like episodes like this one don't really help. Because it's also the reason why I didn't enjoy season 10 of The Walking Dead as much as I did season 9. Because season 9 was so novel and exciting and refreshing, just like this season of Fear has been compared to the previous few. But season 10 kind of fell into the same old traps, and I just wasn't, I guess, as excited about it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, even though it's a good episode, I have to force myself to really keep on watching for some reason. Yeah, I got a little bit sidetracked, so let's get into what I enjoyed about this episode. So this episode, we ended up meeting John Dory's father, who I can't say he is really able to replace John Dory Jr.'s spot as a character and what he stood for and how engaging he was. But I would say he's definitely a good addition to the cast. He's interesting, he's unique, and he's a better character than a lot of the cast that we got in the last 2 seasons. So hey, who am I to complain, you know? And his relationship to the events that have happened so far and the villain of the season is so cool. It makes the stakes of the season, I feel, that much more interesting. And that is actually another similarity that this season has to season 3. And at this point, you cannot tell me that that's not fucking intentional. Because there are way too many similarities to this season with season 3. There's a dam, there's a multiple factions of people fighting each other. There's one faction of people that ends up assimilating with another one as well. There's a guy, a villain, who looks exactly like the other one, because to me, Proctor John and Teddy literally look like freaking brothers or something. And there's the Western aesthetic that both seasons have. Different take on the Western aesthetic, but a Western aesthetic nonetheless. And there's the deep-rooted villainy and relationship between the good guys and the bad guys, or what are supposed to be the good guys and the bad guys, just like there was in season 3. With season 3 we had the Native Americans and the ranch people having a fight even before the zombie apocalypse happened, and in this case we have John Dory Sr. and Teddy have history before even the zombie apocalypse happened. So that really adds a certain weight and grounds the conflict in a really fun way to me. But yeah, it like the ideas of this episode and what happens in this episode is fine, but it's not really as exciting as I thought it was going to be, you know? Hopefully you understand what I mean, because I liked seeing John Dory Sr. and I think he was written great, like the episode was written great, but there was a certain lack of excitement for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe, as I've talked before, the height of the season being so much better than the previous 2 seasons is kind of going away now, so I'm actually seeing the episodes for what they are, you know. But it was a good episode. There was nothing about it that I hate. All the interactions were great, all the writing and dialogue was great, and everything. But it just is not as exciting as it should have been. I did like all the parallels that we have in this episode, because even though this is supposedly a June episode, it's also an episode about John Dory's father, it's about Sherry and Dwight's relationship, so it's about all these different things, and I feel like, especially in the second half of this season, the anthology format is barely an anthology, because sure, the main focus is on a character, but when you have the episode be also focused on different characters, in this case Sherry and Dwight, is it really a June episode? I mean, it kind of is, because the story of June in this episode is paralleled with Dwight and Sherry's story, but you know, it's not really as much of an anthology as the episodes of the first half of the season were. Which is fine, like, it's not like I'm crazy about the anthology thing or whatever, I just want a good series. But I feel like the anthology format of the first 7 episodes worked better, because every episode was a different thing, it had a different vibe, it had a different execution of everything. And I feel like in the second half of the season that has been not the case, so the episodes have been blending with each other a little bit more, because we have so many of the different cast members in each episode, which in a way works better, because you don't have to have an episode for every single cast member for them to get focused on, but at the same time you don't really focus on the character that you're supposed to be focusing on as much. Like, see the Wes episode, it's barely an Wes episode. Sure, the main story is about Wes, but Alicia gets a lot of the spotlight as well, and so does Al, and a little bit of Luciana as well as the whole place, the whole community that those people have there. So yeah, in the beginning of the episode we have a little bit of a rage moment by Morgan. He blames June for the baby's death, even though I don't see how it's how it's her fault that the baby died. The baby died probably because of the radiation, but also because of all the trauma that Grace went through on the way to June's hospital. So I guess maybe you could say that it's June's fault. I mean, I guess it depends on what you want to put the blame on why the baby died. I think it died because of the radiation, because that idea that the baby died so Grace could live was mentioned by Grace in the episode, and literally the same idea was present in that Chernobyl miniseries. I don't know if that's true to life, whether that baby died for the same reason, so the mom survived or whatever. But I think I'm willing to believe that more than the baby dying because of the explosion and all the trauma and everything. So if it is because of the radiation, it's not really June's fault that the baby died. Her being there wouldn't have saved the baby because the baby died because of the radiation. So I feel like the anger of Morgan is a little misplaced in the beginning there. Then we have June going around looking for supplies, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what she's doing. But then Dwight shows up looking for her because he heard what Morgan and her were talking about in front of the gates. And it's a nice little callback to how they met and how John and June ended up saving Dwight. Because in that episode, which is actually a pretty dark episode, even though it's still not good or as good as this season has been, I actually enjoy for where it was taking Dwight as a character, because he was suicidal at that point because he had lost track of Sherry. He didn't believe he would ever find her, but he then met June and John, and they saved his life. He's still alive because he met them. So it's interesting that he cares about her now. So he decided to help her. Then Sherry shows up out of nowhere, and again with her murderous rage, for some reason she wants to take out the guy that starts shooting at them, but she obviously is not able to. So as I understand, because there I feel like the editing was a little off because I'm kind of lost about what happens afterwards. June ends up walking, supposedly trying to kill the guy who was shooting at them, but then she stumbles upon a fucking RV and takes her time getting into the RV. In that whole time frame, she could have easily been killed by that guy because she didn't know where he is, but I guess she's not being stupid. I don't know. So then we meet John Dory Sr. Cool character, great dialogue. I love the guy. I love the actor. He was great. I love the character and everything. I love that he has a history with Teddy. That was all great. But I'm not quite sure I understand where the fuck they were going when they took the RV. Because they were supposedly going to a place where there's proof or information about the End is the Beginning group. But yeah, I don't know. There was some cool, interesting interactions between June and John Dory Sr. And I love the line about when June asks him whether he's going to ask about what happened to John, where is he and everything. And I love that John Dory Sr. says that, I'm a cop, I see things. With that look on your face, the one gun that you're carrying and the two wedding rings that you're carrying, I know what happened. I like that. That was a pretty cool line. So yeah, in the meantime, we have Dwight and Sherry following June, I guess, because maybe they believe she was kidnapped. I'm not exactly sure, but they were running after her. And Sherry's murder rage ends up killing a fucking horse because she just can't fucking stop. I don't think, like, this is the same kind of shit that we had on the main show with Maggie. And it's just as frustrating, you know? And I understand that both have legitimate grievances to have with Negan. Maggie has the grievances that her husband was killed by Negan, and he mocked him and brutally destroyed him. So I understand Maggie's rage against Negan. But from a writing perspective, as much as it's justified for the character to act like that, it's super frustrating for the viewers to have to experience that rage for 4 seasons now. 4 seasons! It's more like 3 seasons because she left in the middle of season 9 and came back at the end of season 10, but still, 3, 4, who counts? It's gotten annoying. So to have the same thing on Fear the Walking Dead? No thank you. It's really gotten annoying at this point to me. It's completely justified for the characters, but from the writing perspective, it's super annoying. It's super annoying. You could have done it better, I feel like. Or not, at least not drag it out as much. Because apparently, Sherry again now wants to go back to Virginia and kill Negan, which we know that she won't do, because Fear the Walking Dead is 7 years behind the main show, and Negan is still alive on the main show, so of course she didn't go back and kill him, so that fucking argument was pointless. But still, I like seeing the interactions between Dwight and Sherry. I want Dwight to find happiness, man. I love that character, and I love the actor, and I just want the character to be happy. Which I think is what the episode ended on. Not exactly sure, because there was the ambiguous line of Dwight saying, so why don't we start over? I'm not exactly sure whether he means that they should start over as a couple or run away and start over kind of thing, because I'm not sure. But yeah, so after talking about it, June and John decide to go back to John's cabin because Hill, the pioneer who was the right-hand man to Virginia, might be there. He might have information about the End is the Beginning group. And I gotta say, the actor was so freaking different. I'm not even sure whether it's the same actor. Can somebody confirm to me whether that was the same actor? Because I'm not sure. He looked so different without the hat and with a beard that I'm just not sure. I feel like it's probably him because his facial expressions were the same, but he looked so different that it's hard to tell ultimately. But I really liked seeing him back, and it's a shame that he actually didn't get more lines and just screen time in the rest of the seasons, because in this like 30 seconds that he was on screen, he was great. He had charisma. He was a really cool antagonist for 30 seconds. And I wish we got to see more of him and why he was so loyal to Virginia. But yeah, I liked seeing him, and I liked the little fight he had with John Dory Sr. and how he got taken out. It was all cool. And right there, when he shot John Dory Sr., I thought they were probably going to kill off John Dory Sr. because that's what the Walking Dead universe does. They bring a guest actor for one episode and they kill them because they can't stay for more than one episode. And especially with the way that he was getting killed, him getting shot and falling above his son's grave, would have been such a poetic and sad death. But luckily, he didn't die because the supplies that were left unused because John Dory Jr. ended up dying and June wasn't able to save him, ended up being used on the senior, and she was able to save him. And then afterwards, there was the super sad scene that made me fucking cry, where June was reading the letter that John left. And a few things I want to say about this. One, I kind of understand why June didn't want to read the letter for so long, because those are the last words she'll ever get from John. So maybe she doesn't want to get them until the last time possible, because once she reads them, it's done. She'll never get new things from him. She'll never hear anything new from John. It would basically mean her accepting that he is dead in a way. So I kind of understand her not wanting to read the message, even though the episode was trying to say that her not reading the letter means that she doesn't really care about it. Even though that's what the characters were saying, that's not necessarily what the episode was conveying. But yeah, that's the one thing I want to say about it. And the second thing is that it was weird that it was a little weird that John Dory was talking about the fact that he had forgiven his father in a letter that he was going to give to June after leaving with Janice. Like, it does feel a little forced from the writers, so the letter has some relation to the stuff in the episode and the character arc of his father in this episode. And it kind of feels like maybe June was kind of making it up as she was reading the letter. And I think even some reactors, like, I don't remember the guy's channel's name. It was like Bad Medicine Podcaster or something. I've really enjoyed their videos. Definitely check them out if you're into Fear the Walking Dead reactions. They even pointed it out and made a joke about how June is just probably making it up and it's not actually written there. Because it doesn't really feel like it makes sense for him to write that. But it was a really nice scene and it made me cry. And outside of that one acting moment by the actress who plays June, where she just flings her hand above her face like this to get her composure, it was a greatly acted scene. It's just that felt a little bit over the top, that she put her hand like that over her face as if she was calming herself down like an actor. It felt a little bit over the top. But other than that, it was really great. And when she started crying uncontrollably, same happened to me, honestly. I love moments like this in the Walking Dead universe. That's why I watch these shows. And at the end of the episode, we have Morgan and John Dory Sr. meeting, which was a great meeting. I'm really curious where they're gonna go with John Dory Sr.'s character, because he's an interesting addition, but I'm not sure for how long we're gonna have him. At least until the end of the season, but I don't know. Depends on also where the season as a whole ends up going, because maybe they will end up nuking Texas, because we've also gotten confirmation that, or at least we've heard that there's going to be a time jump soon. So maybe they're gonna have a nuke, they're gonna have our characters survive either in the submarine, which would be stupid, or in the place where Teddy was staying at, and then come out to the surface. Because we've also seen some teasers of season 7, which have kind of showed desert environments. So you would be thinking that they're probably going to nuke it, they're probably going to go with it. And I think it would be great to actually have the villains win. That would be so interesting, and it would genuinely solidify this season of Fear the Walking Dead as one of the best seasons of this universe. So I really hope they go in that direction. Yeah, ultimately for this episode, I think I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10. It's a solid episode for sure, with no flaws that I can think of other than some slight nitpicks. But it's not as exciting and as mind-blowing as I feel like it should have been. So yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. What did you guys think about the episode? Comment down below. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you enjoy my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon, we can pledge support, help keep the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think that's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!